Hey crafty friends, it's Rick. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are kicking off the Gingerbread Greetings series, where we will be making a Christmas card each month. We're going to start off by using this fun stamp set. We're going to use a hot foil plate. We're going to use the Pine Sprays hot foil plate, the Pine Cones and Holly stamps and dies, and the Festive Penguins Stamps and dies, along with some pitch black cardstock, some peacock cardstock, and I've got some hammer mill cardstock to stamp on. We're also going to be doing a little heat embossing, but we're going to get started with our stamping. So I'm prepping my pitch black cardstock from Hero Arts with my rabbit hole design powder tool, and I'm going to stamp the Pine Cones and Holly stamp set out the frame on that cardstock, and we're going to cut it out. We are going to heat emboss that with some super fine polished gold embossing powder from WOW. So I've inked that up with my WOW embossing ink, and I'm going to pull that off. Actually, we're going to make sure we got a good impression. So now we're going to pull it off, and we're just going to pour our super fine gold embossing powder, polished gold embossing powder on top. And I'm going to shake that off and make sure there's no excess hanging off. And we will heat set that. And then, I love watching heat embossing. It's just so pretty. So yeah, we will be doing a Christmas card each month, because I have tons of Christmas products that I never got a chance to use. So I've decided to make a series out of it. And it allows you to get a jump start on your holidays. Now we're going to stamp our sentiment. My sentiment comes from the Festive Penguins Stamp Set. And these are all by Spellbinders, by the way, if I didn't mention that. And I'm going to use my opaque white superfine embossing powder, bright white superfine embossing powder to cover that. And I'll heat set that. All right, so we're going to melt our white embossing powder. And then I'm going to put my hammer mill cardstock back on my stamp wheel. And I'm going to stamp my penguin that I picked for this card. I chose the one that has a little scarf and a little hat. I think it's so adorable. And we're going to color that up with our Spectrum Noir markers. But we're going to use our detail black ink from Pink Fresh Studio. Sorry about that. Pink Fresh Studio. First, and that ink is alcohol marker friendly ink and watercolor friendly ink. So I'm going to stamp it again because I didn't get a good impression at the bottom. So I wanted to do it one more time, and I will have to heat set this ink before I start coloring. But now we're going to move on to our hot foiling. So I've got the Pine Sprays hot foil plate from Pink Fresh Studio. I'm going to use some gold hot foil. And I'm going to take a T-ruler and lay it right across and cut that really close. Now I'm going to take and attach my hot foil to my foil plate and my cardstock. And I'm going to use a little piece of Best Ever craft tape for that. And I'm going to pull in the Glimmer hot foil machine. And we are going to let this get nice and hot. So I'm going to hit my button. And on this cold, freezing winter day, it was nice to have the hot foil machine in here because it made me nice and warm. So I'm going to let that blink. It only takes a couple minutes once your machine is heated up. And we are going to run it through I'm using the Big Shot, but they work with a lot of different machines, so you can check the manufacturers to see which machine, if your machine will work. I can tell you that it will work with the Stampin' Up machine. I can tell you that because I've done it. All right, I'm going to pull my hot foil plate off. I'm going to take my foil off. I will save that for another project. And I'm going to move my hot foil piece to the side, and we are going to color up our last little penguin. Like I said, we are going to use our Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend brush markers. And I'm using the Ice Blue blend, Blue Turquoise blend, Burnt Orange blend, and Coral blend. And I'm going to start off with the Ice Blue blend. And I'm going to come in with my lightest color and go around the edge, and I'm going to come back in with my medium color, and the lightest color in that marker is IB1. The next lightest color is IB2, which is Ice Blue 1, Ice Blue 2. So I'm going to put that on there, and then I'm going to come back in with my ice blue 1 and blend that out, and then I'm coming in with a colorist blender and blend that completely out. So we got a little nice colorful white object. Excuse me. Now we're going to color the little feet. I think it's a girl, so we're going to say her. I'm going to use the burnt orange blend, and that is BO1, BO3, and BO4 as the darkest, which is what we're using right now. And we are going to color that up nice and pretty. We will take and blend that out with our BO3 and our BO1, and I'm going to do the beak at the same time. I only did the BO3 and the BO1 on the beak because it's such a small area. Now I'm going to color. I go back and change that. I decided I wanted that a different color. All right, we're going to move to our blue turquoise blend and our coral blend. That's going to be our scarf and our hat. And I'm going to start with the the blue turquoise blend, and I'm laying in the lightest color, which is BT2 first. I'm going to lay that into my little stripes, and I'm going to come in with BT9, which is the darkest color in that marker, and I'm going to put it at the top and the bottom of each stripe, because I'm going to have a center highlight on the scarf. And I'm going to blend that out with the BT5. And I will blend that one out with the BT2. So I'm just going in with the BT2 there and blending that out. And then we will come in and do our little stripes on our scarves on the other side. And I started with the darkest color and blending that out with the medium. And then I'll blend that out with the lightest. And then we're going to move on to our coral blend, which is CR1, CR6, and CR11. Now this has, I'm going to do the hat. Let me add the stripes to the hat. I decided I'm just going to do each marker in one of the stripes there. Super easy color. And that's why I went back and changed that. Now we're moving into the coral, and we're going to do the hat. I'm going to do the same thing with that, which is CR1, CR6, and CR11. There is a big jump in this marker. That's why they came out with the extended colors, because it helps bridge those gaps. So we're going to bridge the gap. We're going to do tip-to-tip coloring in some of it. So I'm just going to start off with my darkest color, which is the CR11. There's the tip-to-tip, and I'm blending my medium tone out with that. And I will do that same process through this scarf. I forgot what it was. I'm like, what is that? It's a scarf. So I'm going to start with the darkest color in the top and bottom, and I'm blending that out with the medium tone. I could have tip to tip if I would have grabbed my other just regular regular Spectrum Nora markers. I could have done tip to tip with that, but it worked out just fine. So now we're doing the tip to tip and blending our medium tone out. Now I'm going to brush off my powder with a microfiber cloth, and we are going to take the coordinating dies and line them up on our embossed image here. And this die has two dies. It has one that cuts out the frame and one that cuts out the inside center of the frame, plus it cuts out some of the other images in that set. So we are going to take and cut out the sentiment and the frame, and I'm going to make sure I have that lined up really good. And I'm going to tape that with a little Easy C tape. That's so hard to say. And I'm going to line up my penguin's little die and cut him out, or her, whatever you want to say. Maybe I'm going to cut this down, and I'm going to place this all in my machine and cut it out. And I'm going to pull those away. And now I'm going to take all those pieces out. I'm going to take my Peacock cardstock card base, and make sure it has a nice fold. My hot foiled piece, I'm going to cut down to 3 3/4 by 5. So I'm going to cut off a little bit of all of each side, so that I make sure I have a nice and squared focal point or panel. I'm going to take that and mat that onto a piece of gold foil paper, and I've cut that down to 4 by 5 1/4. That's what I'm doing right there, because it wasn't quite square. So I'm going to layer these together. I'm just going to use Barely Art liquid glue for that. And we will attach these together. Sorry for the coughing, y'all. It never fails. I start doing a voiceover and I start coughing. We'll add that panel to our card base. And I'm going to take and add the inside part of the frame. I'm going to line the frame up on my card base first. That way I can take and put my sentiment in with liquid glue, because we're going to do an inlay with that. So I'm just going to place that where I want it, and then I can lift my frame up while still holding that in place. That way it doesn't move. And I'm going to add foam tape to the back of the frame. And we're going to skip a little spot right there, because our penguin's going to go in there. And we are going to add the foam tape. I'm going to line that back up, place my penguin where I want her, flip it back over, add the other foam tape to secure the penguin in place, and I'm going to flip it back over one more time and add just a couple dots of liquid glue under the scarf and under the top of the hat so that stays in place. And then I can start removing the foam tape backings. We're going to peel all those off. And then I'm going to take and add a little liquid glue to my foam tape. And I'm going to center that right over the top of our sentiment. And it creates this perfect little window. I'm going to make sure I have it nice and lined up in our window where we have that little inlay piece. It gives the perfect amount of dimension, and it gives a little bit more interest to our card. And now I'm going to bring in some glacier gems from Pink Fresh Studio, and I'm going to add some of those around the card. So I think I'm going to add about 7. And I just use any of all 3 sizes that are in there. So I'm going to add a couple more. I'm trying to decide where I want them to go. And remember, you can find all these supplies in the visual supply list listed below if you need any of them. The ones that are available, I think they're all still available. And I got mine through the Spellbinders Club, but they do sell extras sometimes until they run out. And you get a club discount if you're a club member. So there's that. So I'm going to add my last little gem. And here is a look at our card for our Gingerbread Greetings series. I hope you like this card. I hope you give it a try and give it a thumbs up. And there is the video you might like next. See you in the next video. Bye, guys. Love you.